gentlemen, we are back inside the Red Bluff Outlaws, the Paulie Davis Pavilion building here in Red Bluff, California. You guys definitely recognize this beautiful racetrack. I grew up racing outlaw karts here, and I still come back during the winter time to make laps, race, try to chase victories, and more important than anything, keep my skills sharp. I'm also very fortunate. I have a great opportunity to race with QRC Karts, which you guys have seen the past 5, 6, 7 years on the channel during the winter time in the red 18T with Jimmy Elledge on the wrenches. Jimmy's a former NASCAR crew chief, spent a lot of time working on NASCARs in the 90s, the early 2000s, and won races at the highest level. So it's cool now he owns QRC Karts, and I'm very lucky to get to drive for him. And we're going to be running, like I said, a lot throughout the winter here. We got some races in Oregon. We got a big 10,000 to win show in Nevada. Kart racing's been elevating the last couple of years, so we're going to be getting after it, and I'm just super excited for today. I'll kind of walk you through how the entire format's going to work. Red Bluff, though, is an intense place. It's cutthroat. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of young talent here that is going to go into the rest of the dirt racing world and be very successful, but this is kind of the beginning grounds for that, and there's a lot of people that want to kind of stick out in this crowd. So anyway, we're going to be getting after it tonight. Just wanted to kind of show you guys the track. You can see it's really impressive what they have here in this building. There's a lot of history to it.
You're 13th, not bad. Hopefully if you stay there, I'll start you on the front row, right?
Yeah. So first laps back here at Red Bluff. Felt rusty for a second, but just like anything else, it's like riding a bike. First lap was okay, my second lap was okay, and my third lap, I just kind of got better a little bit each time. Right now we're currently sitting 13th. All these guys ran last week, so like I said, I feel like those 3 laps were my throwaways for the night to kind of get caught back up to speed. My car didn't feel bad. Kind of seems like my engine, I don't know, I mean, like I haven't been in a kart in a while, but it doesn't seem like it's running 100%. It's just kind of acting a little bit weird, so we'll look into that. My car felt okay, just a little free in the center of the corner, I would say. Feels like it just turns really, really well, but right now we're sitting 13th. We'll see where we end up. There's just a few guys left to go. So I just wrapped up qualifying for all divisions. We were able to hold on to 13th quick, so that's going to be helpful now rolling into a heat race. We're going to be starting outside front row. They're only going to be transferring the top 2. Of course, the goal, try to get a good start, get out front, lead all 8 laps, and transfer into tonight's A. Like I mentioned, my car felt solid. We're going to make a few changes as the surface is not necessarily slicking it off much, but it is losing a little bit of grip. Seems like the top side's kind of the way to go at the moment, but you can never kind of sleep on the bottom here. Sometimes that just gets way shorter around, and guys are able to drop down there and make plenty of speed as well. Being back in a car though, man, they rip. It's like kind of similar to driving a 410 in the sense of how fast they accelerate. I mean, you step on the gas and you really shoot forward. You can lift the front end off the ground, no problem, and you can really drive them hard. So that's what everyone does here at Red Bluff. That's why, I mean, I was 13th quick. I was an 8.82 and quick time was like an 8.67 or 8.69. So just over a tenth would have put me at the top of the charts. That was basically the top 15 cars. Like I said though, the heat race is up next. It's 8 laps. We got to finish in the top 2, and if we can advance through, we'll have a shot at making tonight's dash and starting up front. we bounced back a little bit from just kind of qualifying okay there to winning the heat race. I think we just got to keep working on my car, and I just got to keep kind of settling back in. The main thing though that was making my job so tough is my engine. I kind of talked about in qualifying, and it doesn't seem like it doesn't run terrible when I'm rolling, like when I'm at the top end and even getting off the corners, but starts and just when I'm rolling around, if I ever get going really slow or running the bottom, like it just doesn't come off the corner great. It kind of falls on its face for a second. Almost kind of hard to just keep running. I got to work the clutch a little bit more, but that's going to transfer us into the A. We'll see if we're going to make the dash. They still got to finish things up here, but glad we got in the show. We don't have to eat no alphabet soup, and we can try to have a solid night and work forward. So just a few moments later, Jimmy used a baseball term. He said, let's go get one out of the bullpen. So we went underneath the bench in the trailer and grabbed one of our spare engines and started swapping it onto the car. This process doesn't take very long, and also we had plenty of time since we were transferred directly into tonight's A main event. We pulled one off, put the other on, and immediately once we fired it up, it sounded way better. So we successfully changed engines on the 18T, and now we're going to be rolling off from 8th in tonight's A main event. Unfortunately, with where everyone finished in the heat races, we missed the dash, so we're not going to have that. We're just going to be rolling right into the show. If you're asking, does it worry you, Tanner, to have a fresh engine on and go out there? You know, we just fired it up, of course, but not have any green laps on it. It doesn't make me nervous at all. Jimmy dynos each of these engines, fires them up, heat cycles them, does like the whole entire thing. So this one sounded much, much better than my one earlier. I don't know why, but the other one earlier just wouldn't idle correctly, and it just, I don't know if it was already maybe like starting to head south. If we would have kept running it, we would have had more problems, but just wasn't up to par. So this one sounds much more crisp, and I think it'll give us a much better opportunity to try to win tonight's A from row 4. But we got a little bit, they got the lower mains to go, and then we will be checking out the racetrack and kind of just keep an eye on it for when we race later this evening. So we got a quick break in the action before we start features. They've kind of been working on the track most of the night, but kind of how this place goes, starts out really tacky, and then as it starts to burn off, it gets slick, but it usually gets really dirty. And it seems like the material this year is a little sandier than in the past. You can kind of see it walking out there. Just, you know, if you move your feet or you kind of touch it with your fingers, it just kind of comes apart. And so when it gets sandy like that in that stage, it slows down a lot. And then once it kind of burns off that top layer, it speeds back up a little bit because it kind of just gets clean, and then it starts to lay rubber or get abrasive, and you can see that happen over time if you just sit in the stands. The more cars that go, the faster they go. I mean, it just kind of eats into the racetrack. So we'll kind of see what we end up getting for tonight's Open A main event. I think it's going to be closer to the clean stage, but I don't know. They did just work it, and right now it's extremely dirty, so we'll kind of just see how long it holds on, and hopefully it makes for a really good show. We're going to need a good surface though, because we're going to be coming from 8th, and we got to try to pass cars to get towards the top 5 podium and having a shot to win. So we are now officially setting the kart down. We are the final race of the evening, and we're getting ready to head out for driver intros. I took one last look at the racetrack, and then it was time to strap in the 18T. My main goal for this race, starting kind of mid-pack, avoid the chaos, run a smart 30 laps, and just try to work our way towards the top 5 so we have a shot at a good result and a solid overall night. So something new that Red Bluff did this year is they implemented a choose cone just like the high limit series. So they put a cone out on the back stretch, and then you either go high or low. So in this situation, you're going to see that I actually advance forward 1 row because some cars choose the outside. I go low, so that's why I bumped from 7th to 5th technically on this restart. need a hat. Not looking good after the race. 8th to 4th tonight at the Red Bluff Outlaws. Can't complain. I'm losing my voice. If you guys watch our Red Bluff stuff, you know that this place is just so different, and you have to race here with a lot different mindset than anything. You can't necessarily always go for the win. With this car, we're kind of trying to points race this year, and I'm trying to make all the shows. So when you're points racing, you have to be conservative sometimes. You have to be risky at others. You have to know when to take risk, when not to. And tonight with the track, I was probably a little bit more on the conservative side, but like I don't know a lot I would have done different. At the end, I got a spot. I was running 5th a long time. Finally got into 4th. I think if I could have gotten to 4th sooner, I probably could have got to 2nd. Maybe if some of my laps earlier went a little better, I probably could have got, at one point I was in 5th, then lost a couple spots, then gained it back, was kind of stuck between 5th and 8th for a while. But if I could have gotten to the top 5 sooner, I think I could have ran 2nd. I was better than those guys once I got going. We're just all stuck behind each other, and the racetrack was starting to lay rubber. Just starting to get abrasive, and everyone was running the top. I tried to work the bottom, but just a little rough in spots, which makes it really, really difficult because the cars, we just have so much power around a little place like this. It's just unpredictable. It's easy to spin out, and I feel like we need to try to work on just calming our race cars down a little bit. Felt like a handful to drive, probably just because I haven't been in a kart in a while, but man, you just got so much power right to the ground, and you're basically in a blender, so it's hard. A lot of it, you're just trying not to get in a wreck or cause one or whatever. So like I said, 8th to 4th, can't really complain about that. Solid night at Red Bluff. We went forward. I think we had a good race car. We survived. Like I said, and it's hard. You got to just bite your tongue at this place, and that's considered a good night.